The legendary Pokemon Reshiram is coming back to Pokemon GO's raid battles, and I will say this is one of the most powerful legendary Pokemon in the game, and you don't want to miss out on it. And I'm going to be going over the best counters and strategies for taking down this raid boss in this video. Let's get right into it. Hey, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So, today we're going to be doing a raid guide for one of the most powerful legendary Pokemon in the game, and this is of course the Fire type and Dragon type Pokemon Reshiram. This is a very solid Pokemon for raid battles, but it could also be really good for PvP, in particular the Master League. It is also used for a very powerful fusion form as well, where you could fuse it together with the legendary Pokemon Kyurem to get yourself White Kyurem, one of the top tier Pokemon and one of the most future-proof Pokemon currently in Pokemon Go. Taking down Reshiram doesn't require too much. It is actually quite unique in its type combination of Fire and Dragon, which means you're going to want to bring specific Pokemon. So let's go over the counters as well as the strategies for taking down Reshiram, and then afterwards let me talk about some of the things you could use this Pokemon for and why you need to raid for it. Reshiram is a duo Dragon and Fire type legendary Pokemon. This gives it only 3 weaknesses, which is going to be Dragon type, Ground type, as well as Rock type attacks. In terms of resistances, it's going to be double resistant to Grass and Fire type attacks, and it's also going to be resistant to Bug, Electric, and Steel type attacks. Obviously, you will want to avoid bringing any Pokemon with these moves, but bring Pokemon with really powerful Dragon type attacks or Ground type attacks. Those are going to be your best bet. Now in terms of perfect IVs, and yes, this is one of those legendary Pokemon where you do want perfect IVs, you're going to want to look for one that is 2307, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2884. That's the maximum number that you're going to want to look for, and if you want a weather boosted one, make sure you go out and raid it when it is sunny outside, or if it is windy outside. Those are going to give it the weather boosts. And if you want to take down Reshiram with the least number of trainers as possible, it is possible to duel this raid boss, but I would say if you want to secure the win, go with 4 to 6 trainers in the raid group. It's not necessarily a difficult raid boss, it's just that there's very powerful counters up against it. And if you want the absolute best counters for your raid party, consider bringing either Mega Rayquaza or Primal Groudon as your Mega Evolution, and then also Eternatus with Dragon type attacks. That is by far going to be the most powerful Pokemon up against Reshiram. And if you have any Shadow Garchomp or Shadow Palkia, that's definitely going to be really good options. But if you do not have any legendaries or Mega Evolutions for you to use, you could also bring regular Garchomp. It's a very powerful Pokemon specifically against Reshiram, mainly because it does have the ground typing and any of its moves are going to be pretty good. But I would stick with Dragon type attacks. That is going to be the key damage type that you will want to use against Reshiram. For all the Pokemon that I listed, go with Dragon type moves and you'll be good to go. So yeah, taking down Reshiram is pretty straightforward. Dragon types are of course going to be essential, but you do have some options. I will say that when it comes to this raid boss, you don't want to overlook it. It's a very powerful legendary Pokemon in its own right, but yeah, it is also used for fusing with Kyurem for White Kyurem, a very powerful fusion Pokemon and often considered future-proof. So I will say Reshiram is a highly valuable Pokemon. You may not necessarily want to spend too many raid passes getting as many Reshiram as you can, but I will say farming up the candies for Reshiram and getting yourself a perfect IV is definitely going to take your account very far. And also, the shiny form is out. It may not necessarily have a unique look when it comes to a shiny. It is kind of like a slight coloration. It's not going to be a complete different coloration, but I think it's pretty unique. And it's definitely going to be something that will draw some trades. I think just because of just how useful this Pokemon is, people tend to want to ask for shinies of it because it is a very powerful Pokemon. And having powerful shinies in your collection is often something that a lot of players go after. But Yeah, it is not necessarily a unique look. It is going to be one of those shinies that not many players will highly prioritize over others, but it is still one worth going after. But aside from the shinies, yeah, it is a super powerful Pokemon, especially when it comes to Fire-type raid damage, and it is even pretty good for the Master League. I think some players actually use this Pokemon with great success, so it is definitely one worth going for. I think there's only one real direct counter to it in PvP, which is, I think, Palkia. I may be wrong there. There's probably other counters, but because of its type combination, you don't have to worry about Pokemon with fairy typing, for example. Steel types are actually weak against this Pokemon. It's actually quite unique and really good. And yeah, if you're specifically focusing on PvE content, it's almost an essential Pokemon. There are very few fire types that are going to be much more powerful than Reshiram. In some cases, people want to farm up candies for Reshiram, considering that someday in the future we might get Shadow Reshiram. Yeah, there's just a lot of reasons for you to farm up this Pokemon, but I wouldn't break the bank. You will definitely want to save your raid passes for Pokemon Go Fest, which is going to be next month. We're going to be getting Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y Super Mega Raids. You will want to save your raid passes for those. But if you have plenty to spare, it may not hurt to do a little bit more than you usually would when it comes to Reshiram and next week with Zekrom. They're both really good. But yeah, that's essentially going to be it. There's nothing really else to talk about regarding this Pokemon. Again, very straightforward raid boss. You don't necessarily need too much craziness. Just have some really good dragon types and you'll be good to go. And yeah, let me know your thoughts regarding this Pokemon down below. Is there a reason you're going to be raiding for Reshiram? Is there a particular tip that I completely missed? If there is, make sure you share it in the comments below and let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it and you want to support my channel, best way you could do that is by hitting the like button for this video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. Also, real quick, make sure you go and check out the links in the description below. One of them is to my Patreon page. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, best way you could do that is by becoming a Patreon member. So definitely go and check that out. A link to it will be in the description below, along with some other goodies. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, have yourself a great week, and I'll catch you all later. Jinsula